You're listening to Rewilding Humanity, the podcast for those who've walked through the fire and came back with medicine. I'm Krysta, artist, plant alchemist, and a woman initiated by illness, grief, and spirit. Here, we rise from collapse, reclaim our wild, and remember who the hell we are. Let's get into it. This episode isn't about revenge. It's about reclaiming my voice, my truth, and my nervous system. After surviving a deeply manipulative, covertly abusive relationship. I'm speaking not just for myself, but for every woman who's ever questioned her own sanity while loving someone who wore a mask. If you've ever been love-bombed, gaslit, or left wondering, was it me? This one's for you. I am not here to sugarcoat betrayal. I'm not here to repackage toxicity as spiritual lessons. I'm here to speak the truth out loud in the open because silence protects the abuser, not the abused. So a little warning, there's going to be themes of psychological abuse, trauma, spiritual manipulation in this episode. And everything shared in this episode is based on my experience and perspective. My intention is not to harm, accuse, or shame anyone involved, but I'm here to speak from the heart about my own healing journey and how this chapter is helping me heal myself. I can't believe I'm recording this. You know, my life was never this eventful. And I don't know what the fuck is going on, but it's like the drama. Like, I swear I do not ask for this. I do not ask for this. And I wonder why I feel like I need to be public with the insanity that seems to just keep ensuing in my life. But there's something about the pain that I experience having to mean something and hoping it's useful. And I think this is how I metabolize grief and alchemize chaos. And my hope is to remind other people that they're not alone when their lives fall apart. I'm literally designed to transmute wounds into healing gifts for others. Lucky me. And what I'm realizing is that my public role is to be a wounded healer through language, story, visuals, and ideas. So I'm here to speak truth that liberates and to show that past pain can be transmuted into something more beautiful. So 2 weeks ago, my relationship ended abruptly. And since that moment, so much more has come to light. these things actually resulted in me having to go to the police and file a report. And I'm still in the processing phase, but I've learned a lot, like on hyper speed, trying to understand what the fuck is going on. And I'm hoping that sharing this story is going to like help give some of that healing and relief. Like when I shared the trilogy, these things will just loop and loop and loop in my head until I get it out. And so that's my intention, is to use this platform for a way for me to heal, but also hopefully to help somebody else. So I'm going to start with like a little bit of what happened. Yeah, my previous partner and I were on this beautiful, magical trip. And I want to unpack more about that trip later and just like how amazing it was and how expanding and how it's shifting where I see myself potentially working in the future. And everything on this trip seemed fine up until like the last minute. And I'm going to tie some astrology in here, as I always do. And again, I'm not an astrologer, but I look at charts, my friends' charts, and refer to like astrology apps and stuff just to try to understand the fucking insanity. And it helps. It helps. But it is so terrifyingly accurate. I knew something was coming in like astrologically, but nothing could have prepared me for this. Like this is just it's so fucking next level and evil, you guys. Like it's wild. But I knew that the peak of this transit, which for me it's was a Chiron conjunct a vertex, it's all karmic shit. And basically huge shifts and awakenings in regard to relationship. And yeah, so this beautiful, magnificent trip. I'm having so much fun, like just so in my element, creating art and being in nature in the middle of fucking nowhere. We had to fly into this beautiful resort, which I'm going to be hosting an event at eventually. FYI, stay tuned. And the owner and I were just having such a blast creating together. And the whole premise of the trip was to create art, to create content. Yeah, and just kind of see what would be possible for the future. And we were loving it. I noticed my partner was kind of aloof, but I was just doing my thing, and having fun, and checked in on him often and said he was fine. So much. So many flags. I'll be unpacking later. Anyway, so yeah, a big part of what we were doing is content, and Trina, who I'm gonna have on the podcast, because you guys have to meet her. She's so fucking cool. Just has like the craziest story. But her family has owned this hunting area. It's 2.5 million acres in remote northern BC. She's also a photographer. She does phenomenal work. and we were doing photography, and I really wanted her to capture the essence of everything that I've gone through in the past year and a half. And to me, that was about death and rebirth. So we were taking these really incredible photos. She had, because it's a hunting lodge, like there's bones, and they had like a boneyard. And I'm just gonna be uncomfortably draped for all of these like dead animals. And took some really incredible photos. And she had mentioned that if there was time that we would do a couples photo shoot. And so we were all packed up and just waiting for the float plane to come pick us up, and decided to get a few more images. So we do this beautiful couples photo shoot, and the last photo, Trina wanted to get one of me that was like a little more sexy, which my partner at the time was there for. And then she was like, okay, I've got everything that I need. And then she asked me to do a few more images of myself. This is really incredible photographer and creator online. Love her work, and I couldn't find it prior to us meeting for inspiration. And I think I'd found it the night before and sent her a couple of images. She's like, well, let's go try to recreate a couple of those. So I was just kind of getting my stuff together, and my partner at the time suddenly goes, I'm going to go pack stuff up. And we were like, oh, okay. So went and finished our photos. And finished our photos. I go to the beach, and he's sitting there, and I'm like, something's off. And in my mind, I'm like, again, because this isn't the first time something like this has happened. I mean, nothing as extreme as what I'm going to tell you, but there have been signs. Anyway, so I'm asking him if he's okay and what's going on. And he's like, I've never been so hurt in my life. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what's going on? And he's like, that was supposed to be our sexy photo shoot, and you fucked off with Trina, and I'm just so hurt. And I'm like, okay, like, I'm really sorry that you were hurt by that. That was not my intention. And, trying to get more information, trying to repair. And he's like, I just need my space right now. So I'm like, okay. I go and sit on the beach, and then after that, it was a good 4 hours of just pure stonewalling. Wouldn't look at me, wouldn't talk to me. We get to Watson Lake after our flights, and we're about to have some food, and I'm like, we need to talk about this. And he just blows up at me. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And there was also interrogations of, what do you need more naked photos of yourself for? And like, first of all, I wasn't naked. Like, there was one topless image of me, which was art, and it was beautiful. But like, I had a kimono on, like, I don't even know. But I'm like, okay, this is getting weird. So the stonewalling continues for several more hours, and then he just kind of starts coming around like everything's okay. And I'm feeling a little relieved, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, well, obviously we're addressing this, because I'm not just going to swipe this under the rug. We get to our hotel, acts like everything is fine. We're intimate. I bring it up again, apologize, but also saying that I didn't do anything wrong here. The next day, we drive back. It's fine. There's a few little weird signs. At one point, he told me that he wanted to take photos of me in front of my red light wearing handcuffs, and he would be the photographer this time. And I was like, okay, don't really love that tone. What the fuck? So we get home. I drop him off. We unpack. Hugs, I love yous. Yay, we made it through, right? And that evening, I start getting messages. Have a lot more questions about that photo shoot. What do you need naked photos of yourself for? And I'm like, okay. He's like, I want to have a talk tomorrow. And I'm like, okay. And then the passive aggressiveness starts. And so this has been a theme throughout our relationship. And this only happens when a boundary is set or something happens that this person doesn't like. And it actually becomes quite cold and cruel. So the next day happens, and I encouraged him to speak to his counselor because I know damn well that this isn't about me. And I'm like, maybe you should process this first. And when we have a chat, we're going to talk like adults without this childish shit. And he messages me saying that he wants to come over. And I say, okay. So he comes over that evening, early that evening, and sits down in front of me. And he's like, do you know why I'm here? And I'm like, yeah, to talk and repair. And he just looks at me and he's like, no, I want to break up. And I'm like, what? Are you fucking kidding me right now? And then he goes to his car and he's packed up all my shit and is putting it on the deck. And I'm just sitting there like in shock. And he's like, you don't value romantic partnership. And this has been a long time coming. Like, what? And I'm tired of being triggered all the time. And I was just like, well, so you're triggered and you're just going to bail because it's too hard. And he's like, yep. And he's like, do you want me to leave? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I'm not going to beg for you. Like, this is insane. So he leaves. And then I find out a couple hours later that he's completely erased me. Deleted all of our photos together on social media, changed his status to single on Facebook. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And I send a message just being like, I truly don't understand. Like, what do you mean? This has been a long time coming. What did I do? Like, how is this not a fixable thing? And he's like, you'll figure it out one day. whatever, move on, peace. I was just stunned. Like, it's so bizarre. And it's interesting because so the last relationship that I was in was about 7 years ago. And I don't know if I've ever told this story, but yeah, I really pick him, and we're going to unpack that a little more. But I was dating a guy who was in like a legit religious cult, and it was bad. It was very toxic, very emotionally abusive, but not in this way. Like, he treated me shitty all the time, and I just should have fucking left like way earlier. It was just red flags all over the place. This was different. This was covert. And in that relationship, it ended with him sneaking home while I was out of town visiting my grandparents, packing up all of his things and leaving without telling me. And it did a huge number on my health and my nervous system. It was extremely, extremely traumatic. This person knew that. And I have the feeling that this may have been calculated. And when I had brought that up while he was still sitting in front of me, he said, yeah, well, maybe you should look into that. Maybe it's a pattern, like something's wrong with you. Cool. I know. My sister reached out to him at one point too, just being like, what the fuck? And he wrote this whole thing about how I don't value romantic partnership, and I put work before the relationship, and she'll figure it out one day. And I'm just like, are you fucking for real? The amount of effort I put into this relationship. Yeah. The next day he messages me, you good? And I'm like, no, I am not fucking good with what you just did. But I will be, because I actually face my pain. And this is not casual. Do not just fucking message me shit like that until you're willing to take full accountability. Like, we're not talking. And he sends a message back saying that he's willing to take full accountability and all this stuff. Oh, and at this time, I was still connected with this person on Facebook, and I noticed these things he posted. One of them being a meme with a guy holding up a sign that says, stay away from people who act like a victim in a problem they created. And then there was some other thing about like, not like, don't date people for their potential and look at their actions and blah, 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 blah. It was just so bizarre. And it was just so confusing. So I told him I need space. I think I had asked him to take those memes down too. I don't know, maybe that was later, but he never did. A few days later, I get a handwritten letter that he takes a photo of and sends it to me. And it's this whole long sob story about how I'm the best person he's ever met and how wonderful I am. And he's so fucked up and he's going to regret this for the rest of his life. And he prays every day to start over and going to groups and church and blah, 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 all things. And then he attempts to pull on my heartstrings by quoting some things that he said to me in the past that were meaningful. And, my heart was still bleeding. But I was just like, this is a completely unforgivable thing. Like, this is non-negotiable. And so I wrote him back just saying no and releasing him with love and calling out, kindly what I felt was going on. Oh, I forgot an important part of the story. So the day this person broke things off, I had a friend come over that night. And she is intuitive. And she said that she had seen some things, but didn't know how to tell me. And she's like, I want you to look up covert narcissism. And I was like, okay. I've never dealt with, well, I think I have actually been in relationships with like clinically narcissistic people, but this, I don't know. I couldn't see it still. I just was still reeling in the aftermath but like all of the stuff, like it seems so real and the love seems so real and I don't know. It was very confusing, but I started doing my research. So I got this letter. These memes are still up, by the way. I don't respond right away. And then I get messages telling me how God ordained him to do this to me. He says he's deeply sorry, wishes me all the best. And eventually he'd like to share more of the story with me. Because from the day he met me to this moment, this whole encounter was to be bestowed upon me for the greater good. They were called upon me as I was the perfect, weak, damaged individual to go through with this lesson. God loves you. Might make for a good podcast episode one day. Is it ever? Is it fucking ever? It will all make sense one day. You're welcome. And then he wrote something that just like made me go cold. The adventures of this person's name and Krysta are just beginning. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I don't respond. And I get another message. P.S. I also cheated on you with his assistant. She started hitting on me as soon as we started working together. We ended up kissing when I went to pick up plywood after dinner and wine, and kissed the next day to see if the feelings persisted. Long story short, I couldn't live with myself after betraying you like that, but now that there is no hope for reconciliation, I feel like I can share all my secrets. This would have happened before we went on the trip. Maybe even earlier than that. That's where I snapped. Like, why? Why even tell me that? Right? So I messaged back with a do not contact me again. Lose my number. We're permanently done. Stay the fuck away from me. And I get a thumbs up. The passive aggressive thumbs up. Okay. So there's that. I have a call with a girlfriend and I'm telling her what's going on. And she's like, dude, my mother-in-law is a covert narcissist. And she's like, I don't want to freak you out, but just like change the locks. Don't assume he doesn't have a key. And just maybe file a police report. And I'm like, okay, that's like a little much. Like, I don't think we're going to have that sort of issue. And I go out for dinner with another girlfriend. And I had blocked this person on every platform, I thought. And I got messages come through 2 other platforms that I forgot that we were on, demanding that I come over. And I showed them to my girlfriend, and she's like, we're going to the police. So this is about like a week and a half since all of this shit went down. And now I'm in the police station crying, being like, I don't know. I just don't feel safe. I felt deeply unsafe in my body. And just witnessing like this Jekyll and Hyde, like, it was just really fucking unsettling and destabilizing. Because I had just spent 8 months with somebody that I thought I loved and that loved me. And this is not love. This is lies and deceit. So I make a report. The next day, I have to go to the rodeo, the local rodeo. I was going to go sell some stuff, and I get a message from another girlfriend. She's like, hey, we need to talk. So I have a call with her, and she sends me screenshots of messages from this individual that he sent to her on a dating app. And this happened, I've got it all time-stamped. Yeah. The day before he sent me the sob story letter about how I'm the most amazing thing and he's fucked up so bad and da-da-da-da-da. The first thing he asks her is, do you have kids? Kind of a pattern there. And she asks about me, and he says that, oh, I broke up with her and it was hard, but just liking someone doesn't mean you can make life happen together. Krysta wanted a lover, not a partner. I'm a dad with three kids and come as a package. She made it clear that she didn't want to be involved with the kids. She wanted me to move away from my kids and just be with her. But I can't do that. Oh my God. And so what I'm learning about covert narcissism, and again, like, I'm not diagnosing this person, but like it all lines up. Like, it's so fucking textbook. But they'll spin everything so that they're the victim. I would say we could truly talk about anything, and we're very good about seeing each other's points of view. She needs some time to process and wants to talk, but it's been a few days of no contact. I'm actually writing her a letter now. Oh, this one's fun too. Whatever, she'll find another lover who can fit into her life in a way that better suits her. I want more than just sex a couple of times a week when she has time. I want deep, emotional, valued partnership with a woman who makes me feel valued and wanted. God. Ugh. I gave everything to this person. My heart, my soul, a massive amount of my time. Like, the slap in the face is just, it's insane. When I went through the stuff that he dropped off, it was everything. Everything I'd ever bought for the house, which he told me was my house too, and always to be comfortable there. Every gift. Everything. Down to a toothbrush that's not even fucking mine. Oh, and the real kicker. This is fun. He also has intimate images of me, and he's not responding to my request to delete them. So I'll be adding that to the police report as well. Oh, also, the following or that day, after I filed a police report, where I know the police officer called him to say back the fuck off, he showed up at the rodeo the next day. I had a feeling that was going to happen. And thankfully, there was a woman up front who I could kind of confide in. And I was like, listen, I don't feel safe. Can you please just deny entry to this person? And he had shown up fairly early and she turned him away. Thankfully. I ran into him today, actually, in the health food store. And the smirk he gave me, I don't know. All I can say is, like, it was evil. So I want to unpack a little bit about what is a covert narcissist, because so people talk about narcissists all the time and sounds of a narcissist and blah, 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 blah. I do not throw this term around lightly. It's an actual personality disorder. Again, I'm not saying this person is that, but there's just a lot of things that check off. And once again, had to become an expert on something that never fucking wanted to. Cults, nervous system shit, now narcissists. Fun for me. So there's a few different types of narcissists. There's like the malignant ones that are like very overt. It's kind of like the typical narcissist. There's covert and there's another one. I don't know. Some show 3, some show 5. Anyway, covert narcissism, it's also called vulnerable or introverted narcissism. It's more hidden and subtle. So instead of the classic overt, like, look at me, a covert narcissist often presents as sensitive, wounded, introspective, even spiritual or self-effacing. But underneath is the same core issue with all narcissistic issues. It's an inflated but fragile sense of self that needs constant validation, paired with a deep inability to truly empathize or take responsibility without spinning the narrative in their favor. It's sad because, like, they're ashamed of who they are to their core. And it's why they create a false self in order to cope. And so some common traits of a covert narcissist, there's the victim complex.
So flipping the script to make it seem like they're the ones who are constantly hurt or misunderstood, even though they're the ones that cause harm. Passive aggression. So instead of confronting conflict, they'll post cryptic or cutting things online, ice people out, make vague jabs. So many signs. Emotional withdrawal is punishment, so like stonewalling. And this is so hard on my nervous system because the last fucking guy that I dated did this shit too, and it's just the worst. But they basically just give you the silent treatment, disappear when they feel slighted instead of working through their emotions. Martyrdom. So like, I tried so hard, but like they just never made time for me, becomes the story rather than actually owning their behavior. And then there's envy masked as moral superiority. So subtly putting other people down, especially their partners, while presenting themselves as more enlightened, grounded, or self-sacrificing. And it's all related to like a super fragile ego, right? So like they crumble under criticism, but like lash out or shut down to protect themselves from feeling shame. And it's so confusing because these folks can appear wounded or like deeply caring at first. And they often hook empaths. I want to talk a bit about the narcissist empath cycle in a bit. As an empath, you feel their pain. You want to love them through it. And I mean, this ties to codependency. And they might even do or look like they're doing real healing work, but often it's image driven and there's no integration. It's a split fucking reality that makes you question your own perception. And it's funny because covert narcissists don't tend to discourage you when you're being cruel or selfish. They discourage you when you mirror back their wounds. So when your needs, your boundaries, or your truth threaten their fragile self-image, that's when the charm drops. That's when you see like the crazy behavior. Yeah. And so when I look back, it's like, okay, I was just literally discarded and erased by someone who gave me no warning or a chance to repair, vilified me behind my back, scrubbed my existence from his life within hours, reframed the narrative to make himself the victim, told me, you'll figure it out one day, said he'd take accountability, and then had memes blaming me. And he knew my past trauma and used that exact same blueprint to exit. And that's emotional cruelty. That's abuse. Now, I want to talk about why it's important to expose this type of behavior. The most important thing is it breaks the cycle of silence. So people with narcissistic disorder thrive in secrecy. And I'm not doing this to expose a certain person, but I want people to understand what this pattern can look like. I'm also stating my boundary. I'm declaring that I'm not going to protect this person's behavior at the cost of my own well-being. I also want to warn others. I already had a woman reach out to me on Instagram crying because she was in a relationship with an abuser for a long time, and there were children involved. And I mean, there's children involved in this situation too, which is just so fucking disgusting. Mhm. But she was crying and thanking me for calling it out because she knows what it's like. She sees what's happening with her former partner and what he's doing to the person that he's with now. And that's the thing. Like, they're looking for another victim because they need that validation. They need to suck the light off of someone else. It's also important to talk about because it disrupts the power dynamic. So people with covert narcissism manipulate by controlling the narrative. And I'm here to tell my story. So I want to talk just about some signs that I miss, because there's some stuff, and I mean, I've spoken on the podcast before about this relationship and how like my nervous system felt safe around this person. And I see as fucking ridiculous as the situation is, I'm finally seeing what it is in me that attracts this kind of thing. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. I think my nervous system felt safe with this person because it knew there was like a trauma bond fit somewhere. I couldn't mentally see it. And this is where it's so funny, because it's like I was really trying to trust my body and what my nervous system was telling me, because my mind and my intuition were telling me something different. In the beginning, when we first started seeing each other, I remember it was really weird. I've never told anybody about this. But on the first several dates we had, 1 minute he would look really ugly to me, and then the next minute beautiful. It was like I couldn't see him clearly, which is so strange, because it's like very much this type of behavior that's been displayed where good guy, bad guy, good guy, bad guy, right? So that's, yeah, that was interesting information that I don't know. I didn't know how to interpret it at the time. Again, I thought I was like, oh, no, I just need to override my ego and listen to my nervous system. I think this is one of these things where the nervous system is not necessarily right, especially when you come from trauma, which I do. There were also just like these weird little things. So there were a couple of big signs that I should have just fucking left immediately before, but it was always met with, I'm going to counseling, I'll do better, da 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 da. But I think that's the big lesson for me, is like, no, never again. Because the behavior was pretty fucked up now that I think back. Like, pretty fucked up. But I always want to see the best in people and da 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 da. Love and light and all that fucking shit. Okay, well, it ends now. Much bigger boundaries moving forward. Also, my dog hated him. That should have been a sign. Dog hated him. Yeah. And I just should have paid closer attention to just some of the things that I was seeing. Pettiness. There are a few weird controlling things, like when I was out of town, he wanted to be in constant contact and felt like he didn't have enough contact and I'm so triggered and all of this stuff. Like, I was gone for a fucking week. Like, we're still talking every single day. I go for a walk one night and show up on a call with him, and I had lipstick on. He's like, "What are you wearing lipstick for?" Okay, buddy. Like, there's all these little things. But my nervous system, like, coming from, well, I guess we can unpack that a little bit now, but I'm learning more about the empath, the archetype of the empath. It's not a spiritual thing. I mean, there might be some aspects to it because I'm a Pisces moon and whatever, but it's actually trauma. And if you have grown up in a household where there was a sense of walking on eggshells, where generally one parent would maybe fly into fits of rage and very inconsistent, never knew what was going to happen one minute to the next, that creates this hypersensitivity to the nervous system that makes an empathic person constantly scanning and hyper attuned to other people, but also like trying to fix stuff, right? Or like, ooh, like, well, this thing happened. Okay, dodge it, right? And I totally see that, and I see where I did that for sure. And the fucked up thing though is people with narcissistic personality disorders sniff out empaths from a mile away. And I've been doing a lot of reflecting, and I'm like, yeah, because I mean, if I talk about past relationships that I've had, like, they were all so fucking toxic. And it's like, I gave and I loved and I just wanted to be happy and all of these things. But I was with people that, like, I could describe as being very terrible and fucked up. And yes, I should have left. Like, that's where I think a lot of the healing has happened for me. I'm going to unpack that a little bit at the end here, because I feel a lot differently after this experience than I would have in the past. And I'm really, really hoping that this is the last time, that this is the last big lesson. So this bigger pattern, there's this narcissist, empath, entanglement fucking thing. It's like they just love to prey on empaths. And I got this notification on my astrology app talking about is, like, literally, it was like the day after, 2 days after this whole blow up happened. And it was a Venus conjunct Uranus cycle. Oh, at this karmic 29th degree of Taurus. And this energy can bring up surprising romantic shifts. And so it's all about like big cataclysms in relationship. And it was the 7-year cycle. And I'm like, huh, that's so interesting, because the last really brutal relationship that I was in was 7 years ago. And what is that teaching me? I berated myself so much around what the fuck is wrong with me that I allow such cruel people into my life. And I don't see that anywhere else in my life. Like, my friends are amazing. Like, it's always in romantic partnership. And now I'm putting these bigger pieces together, right? I feel like a lot of what's happened to me over the past year and a half is leading me to this conclusion of this empath trauma in the nervous system and the hypersensitivity, and how that can just basically make your life an entire fucking dumpster fire, because you're an individual that feels very deeply and you have a lot of love to give, and yet chaos ensues because trauma bonding and being a target and being really sensitive in this world is really hard. It's really hard. And so my work now is to figure out how to move forward, protecting myself, knowing this more, but without shutting down. I think this time is different because after the last big breakup situation, it shattered me. I was fucked up for a good year and a half after. I had horrible self-worth issues. I felt like a victim. And I was devastated. I was also so sad about being left alone. But what I'm noticing this time, and I think this is where the growth is I don't feel like that this time. Yes, I'm hurt. Yes, I'm stunned. Yes, I'm fucking angry for being taken advantage of. Yes, there's confusion. Yes, there's all of those things that I'm working through. But this time, I don't need closure. I said no. I rejected chaos. I put up boundaries. I stood up for myself when I didn't feel safe. I don't feel shattered. I feel liberated. This has taken a toll on my nervous system, unfortunately. That makes me angry. But today I was able to stare him down in the health food store when he fucking smirked at me. So I am declaring that I am no longer a magnet for toxicity. I'm fucking done. And I see you, motherfucker. I see you. Back off. So maybe not everyone will understand me or believe me, and that's okay. I don't care. This isn't to expose anyone. This is just the experience that I went through. And I'm doing this for my liberation. Oh my God, we're at an hour already. I was going to tell you guys about how amazing my trip was, but I think I'll save that for another episode. Because this was a lot. I know. Season 3 is so dramatic, y'all. Like, what is even my fucking life? When is it gonna get easier? Is it gonna get easier? Like, this is the last fucking thing that I needed after everything that I've been through. Yeah, here I am again. More healing to do. This never ends. Never ends. Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I'm done. I actually feel better. Might go have a good cry now. Yeah, emotions were kind of stuck there for a little bit. I haven't done any breath work yet because I think my nervous system's just too fragile still for it. But a bath and some music, that usually gets things moving for me. I've just been really fucking exhausted. My system's been kind of shutting down. At least it's not like in like the hyper, like, well, no, there's a little bit too. Yeah. I'm kind of all over the place right now, but it's not a full collapse, thankfully. I'm just gonna have to take a lot of time to nourish. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening. To anybody who did. I love you guys. Send this to somebody who needs it. Follow, share, whatever, all the things. I don't even care anymore. It's been a fucking day. It's been a year. It's been a year and a half. I don't even know. What is my life? I really do hope that I one day get to a point where I can share some just like beautiful things about love and like I'm really tired of being sucked in to the underworld to transmute and share lessons. Like, I know that's like a huge part of my design, but like, fuck off. I'm really tired. I would like some true joy, peace, comfort, stability for once in my fucking life. Anyway, love you guys. I'll catch you on the next episode.
If this episode cracked you open, good. Share it far and wide so we can reach more people who are done pretending and ready to come home to themselves. To dive deeper into my world, explore Wildcrafted Apothecary and Sacred Art at magicmaven.com. Discover new tools for nervous system healing at mindfulmeds.io and Alchemy. Or bring your vision to life with me at the Brand Bruja. All the links and more are waiting for you in the show notes. Until next time, stay wild, stay rooted, and remember, you were made for this.